Off another hard victory, found a way to win. Can you talk about Bowling Green and then looking ahead to much anticipated game with Central Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tight ball game. You know, we didn't play well early. John was a little off early. You know, he did not, for a guy who's been really consistent for us, he struggled in the first half, and I think he, you know, I think it was five of our 6 drives. You know, he made a mistake that stopped our drive. You know, and got him calmed down, got him in rhythm. We knew we could score. It was just when if we stayed calm and kept pressing, we'd start scoring. You know, and Shoot scored 35 points in the second half. You know, and got back in the game, and guys played well late. You know, we got to play better early, but that was probably the way we fought, and it was a good victory. You know, and then moving forward, obviously this is Central week, so this is a big week for us, and it's a West, you know, MAC West division game, and it's going to be a physical one. That's the way they play. That's the way we like to play, and a lot like our Eastern game that way. And you throw the records out the door, it doesn't matter, you know. So it's I don't know if you look even throughout our whole league, every game's 27-24 and 21-24, and so it'll be a battle, and the guys are fired up to get up there.
Coach, starting with the Syracuse game, it seems like we've gained a reputation as a second-half team. You know, where a lot of our production is coming after halftime. Is it the adjustments that you're making, or does it just take a while to get this offense up and running and the defense in sync?
I would say that, if anything, definitely offensively, I would definitely agree with you. We have been haven't been as consistent early on. You know, getting a feel for what they're doing to us, we definitely make adjustments and try to continue to put our guys in good spots. You know, and some of it's just us shooting ourselves in the foot early on. You know what I mean? And you know, I'd be happy with 42 points. I don't want them all in the last 30 minutes. You know, last quarter. You know, but if you told me in 60 minutes you're going to score 42 points, I'd be like, okay, I don't really care when they happen. As long as we get to that point, I think we'll have a good chance of winning. So the way they're choosing to score them, I'm not very happy about. But yeah, and we talk about it. You know, we got to come out better, and I've changed my play calling because of it. I've tried to change up the way I'm doing things, and that didn't work this week. You know, so we're going to continue to try to put together a 60-minute game, and you know, I'm ecstatic about the results. I think our defense has been way more steady. You know, they've had some good first halves, and they're, you know, they're fighting back and forth and back and forth. I think they've been more steady than us thus far. You know, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been excited about the results, but I'd like to get more early production. You know, I mean, it'd be nice to score 70, 35 a half, but that's not always going to happen because they got some players over there too.
Play calling, the play you called to Keyshawn Watson that he scored a touchdown on. Can you tell us what that play is called?
Sugar. It's called Sugar. That's the route. I think we 7-man pro'd it. That was we got a penalty. We had a great pin and pull first run. They called a holding on Odell, which I didn't think was a great call. We ended up 1st and 17. So we're going to take a shot. We've been setting them up with double post all day, and we went post corner because we knew we'd get inside leverage. And I didn't think the throw was going to be that hard. Actually, Sam expanded and made the throw pretty tough. You know, and John put it up over his hands. And then after that, it was mayhem. You know, he caught the ball, cut back. I think it was like disco left Y move, lizard sugar. You know, and yeah. And then when the ball's on the ground, and I was screaming, "Pick it up!" because there's no one there, you know, and he did, and man, what a play, you know. So yeah, it's crazy how some things go your way and some things don't. Like we get a sack fumble that I think if they were reviewed would have been a safety, and we get a holding call by one of our DBs, you know, and it's just like sometimes you think like this is going to be a game changer, and something happens against you, and then you just throw a corner route for you think going to be a 12, 15-yard gain, and it ends up being a fumble, scoop, score. We just scored a touchdown. You know what I mean? So they seem to go both ways all the time, you know, and you just kind of you ride the highs and try to escape the lows when you're in a lull. And but what a play by that kid. He's made a play every week. You know, he finds a way to make one big play. And, you know, he's got tons of experience and confidence. And, you know, he came straight to the sideline, and I looked at him, and he apologized first. Sorry. You know, I was like, I wasn't mad at you. I was just going to say, that was a great play. And then I was going to say, ball security, you know what I mean? And but that was his first thing after scoring a touchdown. He came and said, I'm sorry, you know. But yeah, it was a heck of a play.
You said, and I don't remember if it was on the radio post or on with the interview with Kristen, that what happened last year against Central you thought about a lot before. Knowing what happened last year, what would a win this weekend do to cloud last year, and then in general, what would it mean for the program to win in this game?
I mean, anytime there's multiple layers to this. Obviously, you're playing your rival, which is huge. You know, as I talk to my team, it's very bittersweet. I mean, obviously, the way we lost the game last year was inexcusable, but it was also kind of an eye-opening experience for me and our team of what we needed to work on, and we've been working on it since that day. That Monday meeting after Central last year was in my opinion, kind of the day that the tides turned, as far as me having a very clear view of my goal of what I could help this team improve with, you know. And you've seen it this year a bunch of times, and you know, it's already helped us, you know, but it made it really clear after that game, you know, that it was something that we were struggling with, and our guys have worked hard. And then it's a division game. It's against a rival. It's going to be one of those physical games that if you're ever going to win the MAC or MAC West especially, you're going to have to go through Northern, you're going to have to go through Eastern, you're going to have to go through Central, and they want to make it a brawl, you know, and kind of like the Eastern game. So there's a lot of things all rolled up into one game. We're still trying to put together a 60-minute game, you know, but our guys are fired up to get back up there because it still hurts, I'm sure. Every time you lose to a team, it does, but the way we lost, and hopefully they have some confidence in the way they're finishing things now. We've always finished everything. We've finished things more since that day, you know. Every drill we do in the off season and every sprint that they run, we've done a little differently since then, and we're going to need it to finish, you know, in our to where we want to finish. Let's put it that way.
Coach Bonamigo from Central Michigan was also a quarterback at his university at Central Michigan, which makes this really kind of a unique situation that way. I've read some quotes from him this past week, and he's talking about how Central Michigan is doing so much to kind of hurt themselves, but they really do have a talented team and could be much, much better than their record. What do you see from them on tape? They're pretty scary.
Yeah, defensively especially. I mean, they got a bunch of experience, a bunch of physical, athletic guys that run around and hit you, and their defense is one of the better defenses in our league. You know, offensively, it's a little bit – anytime you replace a quarterback, it's hard, you know, and we lived through it last year. And they started with one guy, and now they're on to the next. So it's an identity thing on offense, and we got to make sure they don't find it this weekend and keep them off balance. They've done a really good job on offense of trying to play to the strengths of the guy that's in there, you know, and even using the guy that started early. He's playing wide out now. He's like a 6'6", 6'7" wide out there that's physical, you know. So they're working at finding their rhythm on offense. Defensively, they have a rhythm. They're going to hit you. They're going to be downhill. They're going to make you earn every single yard, very similar to Eastern that way. And they've kept everybody pretty low, you know. So that's where, you know, that's where they're at. But defensively, they've been in every game. It's no different than Eastern in every game. It's 27-24, 20-24-21, every single game. So we know what we're going to go against offensively. We're going to have a heck of a challenge. Defensively, we have to continue to. If they're going to run the ball, because they've been running it a little bit more as they've broken in their quarterback, you know, we got to stop the run and make them throw it on us, you know, and it'll be a battle.
Kind of building off of Alan's question about the two coaches heading their former alma maters.
Who can throw it better? I don't know. I've never seen John throw it.
What kind of element do you think that adds to this rivalry, given that you guys are so steeped in the traditions of Central?
You know, it's just I think it's just a unique thing. You know that because we have way more experience in this rivalry and have so many stories. Like if you ask me my top 5 stories, I guarantee, and asked him the same, I bet 2 or 3 of them have something to do with the Central Western game. And so it's ingrained in you a little bit more. It's still a big rivalry for the fans, for the alums, every kid on our field today, you know, probably had the choice between Western or Central. And we run into them in recruiting. We run into them in everything. I bet most of our students had a choice between Western and Central, and their players are the same, you know. So there's just it's kind of built in, it's woven into the fabric of both of our places, you know. So it makes it unique, and you won't feel it till kickoff. Kickoff it'll be just a different atmosphere. It'll be a great itmosphere. It'll be ramped up a little bit more, and we still got a job to go do. And you know, we talk about the process all the time and how we show up and how we mentally approach things, but they'll definitely, what's going on around will be a little bit more cranked up than normal.
Coach, you had mentioned changes you made in game versus Bowling Green. Could you elaborate on that?
In the second half?
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing for us was figuring out where we wanted to run the ball. We knew going into that game that the one thing they don't do much is they didn't rotate their D-line. And we knew going into the game that we could start. Everyone has had a lot of success in the second half running the ball. And so I was way more aggressive early on throwing the ball. Unfortunately, that's when John wasn't really at his best, as opposed to kind of how I normally call a game. But so we started hitting them on the edges more, you know, and I think we were averaging 5, 7, 8 yards a carry, which really opened up play calling, because when you know you can get 7, 8 yards a carry, now you can be really aggressive. And so we started taking a lot of one-on-one shots. We got some holding calls down there. We hit Bird down the middle, and we really started getting our rhythm going. You know, once you start hitting a couple explosive plays, it backs their DBs up, and now your run game even gets bigger. I was shocked we didn't pop one. You know, if our wideouts would have blocked a little bit better, I think we would have popped a couple of long ones as opposed to just 10 and 15-yard runs, you know. But and we altered a couple release angles to get the DBs where we wanted them to. They came down and they were more aggressive than I thought they'd be, you know. So we did do a couple of things to try to get D behind coverage, you know. But you know, and really the 2 of the touchdowns were adjustments to their run. They came out the first 2 drives and they ran like 6 coverages, you know, which was a little bit shocking. You know, there was like dial the blitz up, and they blitzed into our run twice. So we put 2 runs in at halftime, and they both were touchdowns, you know, and it was, I don't know if these guys believe. And then we ran one of them, we hit it, and Jamauri, you can ask him about it, he ran right off. He's like, that was a good call, Coach. I was like, I thought it, you know, the way they're playing it, I didn't have that in, but with this way they're doing it, we were able to start predicting blitz off where our back was. And as soon as we could predict the blitz off where the back was, hit one of his walk-in touchdowns, we just kept the tight end front side, blocked the blitzer, the end came up the field, and we walked one in. Then they stopped blitzing, and then we went right back to our regular game plan, and it was on. You know, now we had everything right where we wanted them, because the first couple of drives we didn't, because they kept bringing corner, Sam, depending on where our back was, and it did throw a little bit of a wrench into it, but making the adjustments was huge, and it helped our second half once we got the rhythm going.
Speaking of Jamauri,
I'm voting for him for president, if you're wondering. If you want to know who I'm voting for, okay.
Yeah. You know, 4 touchdowns. He's just really dependable and reliable money when you get down around the goal line, particularly. Can you talk a little bit more about the consistency in his game over the years?
And it's so hard with things changing in the front so much. You know, you never know when they're playing their even front and they're not shaded anywhere and they're slanting. Like, you don't know where it's going to hit. That's why it's unbelievable to be extremely consistent as a running back, because it hits so many different places. It's not like you can just count on that backside A gap cut, the front side B gap cut, the backside C gap cut, you know. And he sees it because he's so patient. You know, he is not in a hurry. He takes it. His shoulders are square. He knows how to read it. and he had made a great run today on outside zone. He's starting to read outside zone like inside zone, which will be dangerous for defenses because he's an unbelievable inside zone runner. And every time we hit the 10-yard line, he's who you want in the game. You know what I mean? Depending on what's going on. I mean, he plays everywhere on the field, but I mean, it's kind of like him and Bell's kind of rotating, but Bell's may play a little bit more in the field. But when we hit the 10, it's all him, and we want him to go pound it in because I don't know what's bigger, his waist or his thighs. If we took a tape measure out, we'd have to find out because he's hard to bring down. And so we're lucky to have him. He went up over the top one time, which shocked me a little bit, showing a little flair to his game, But yeah, I mean, when you have a guy like that, I feel like our offensive line is consistent. And then he's consistent. Anytime you can put, Odell and Gio and those, 5 guys up front and hand it to Jamauri, I mean, good things happen. That's why we keep doing it.
When you ask a player to switch a position, flip a coin on how that can go, especially from offense to defense.
Yep.
But to see Anton kind of seal the game twice for you there, what was that like from your end?
It was all. I mean, when I called him, he didn't even hesitate. I was like, "What do you think?" Because I kind of posed it as a question. Hey, would you? He's like, "Yes, whatever you need, Coach. Whatever helps us win." I mean, that's exactly how he said it, and he's done it with a smile, and he's still got a long way to go to get better. But he is. The game's starting to slow down as a defensive player. He's got great hands. Like when he was a receiver, that was his one thing. He can catch anything. He hasn't been able to catch since he moved over there because it's different when you don't know it's coming and you turn and boom, it's there. And as a receiver, you know where it's supposed to be, high back, shoulder. Like you have expectations when you turn. DBs, you're lost in space. You're turning and reacting, and once those two mix, you're going to have a heck of a player. And he's starting to get to that point, So I was so excited for him because he's gone through the ebbs and flows of playing a new position. High school quarterback, college wide receiver, now college corner, And the athleticism there, the want-tos there, the positive attitudes there. But he's been through some ups and downs there. And to see him get some reward, I think you'll start seeing him get better and better and better because that's normally when it turns, As soon as as soon as we had our second half comeback, all of a sudden it's easier to have the chances of that happening go up, because they've seen it happen before. So I'm hoping that's just the beginning of him getting his hands on balls, So I was happy for him. Technically, the last one he should have batted down. In theory, if I'm going to coach talk you, that thing should have been batted down. But I'm happy for him.
AJ Thomas, can you tell, first of all, you have to be grateful for the fact that we're relatively healthy into the second, particularly compared to last year. But can you talk about the health of the team? And is there, give us an injury report?
Yeah, AJ's the only one that's questionable. He got twisted knee last Wednesday, actually. So we didn't even know. We thought it was going to be bad, but by last Wednesday, we had the MRI. Nothing's wrong with him. He got shaken up a little bit, but nothing, no surgeries required. He's I've heard a couple weeks. That was a week and a half ago. So I don't know if he'll play Saturday. He's moving around a little bit today, but he's nowhere near where I would put him in a game yet. So I'm hoping Toledo, and then Brooks. Brooks is out. But other than that, I mean, we got a bunch of people dinged up, but nobody that wasn't on the practice field today, which is great.
Gio Ricci, I think he was targeted like 10 times against Bowling Green, had a really nice game. What do you see from that touchdown, or I guess
non-touchdown? I was screaming at the officials, which I don't do, as kind of a joke because I didn't think he caught it. And then when I saw the replay, I did think he caught it, because the moment you catch it and get 2 feet down, the play ends immediately. There's no continuation. It's not like you're in the field or anything like that. It's like it's over. And so I was shocked that they were even looking at it. I was calling the next play. And then I looked up on the Jumbotron and saw it. So then I had something to argue about. And I don't know, maybe they didn't think his second foot was totally down when he got hit. I wish we would have pro'd that better because he was wide open. If John didn't have to sidestep a linebacker to throw it, it would have been an easy touchdown. We'd been setting that play up all day. And tried to wait for the right time to call it, and we didn't complete that one. But we had a great matchup with him on the linebacker, and we knew that we were going to get man coverage underneath. And he is a threat in the passing game when it's a one-on-one situation. One, he's big, he's got great hands, he's playing with a lot of confidence. By far our most improved player. I mean, the players of the week on offense, we kind of all argued between Bellamy and Bogan and Gio this week because I thought they both played great, and or all three of them played great. So it was a fun argument to have because he's really playing at a high level. He's blocking great right now, and we needed that because Odell was kind of hobbling on an ankle. He looked good, but not great. Which now he didn't re-aggravate it, so Odell looks like Odell again now today. But it's great to have him playing at a high level because he can do so many things for you, and we can normally get him on guys that don't like to cover as much, non-corners, safeties, outside linebackers, and so we knew that we were going to get him versus number one most of the day, and he's really big on third downs, at running by guys, got him down the chute a couple times, and then working out cuts. We ran him on a couple unders for a change. But the reason he can get behind coverage is because he'll block. Like, he's a physical blocker. So when he comes at you to block, he might run by you, but he might be blocking you. You know what I mean? And, a lot of times you have to make those things up. You have to take a guy that won't block and try to sell them that you're blocking. Like, he's a major part of our run game, So it makes it a little bit easier to try to get him behind people.
Coach, kind of as a final question, and not to look ahead too much, but this weekend's game starts the first game of 3 in 13 days after Central, turn around 5 days, and have to face Toledo. Just talk about the preparation you guys have been doing mentally, physically, to get ready, especially for this stretch, which is kind of compacted.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never had a 5-day turnaround. This will be my first one. I've John Morton, who's an alum, who was the OC at the Jets last year. I've talked to a bunch of NFL guys because they have sometimes 4 days when they play Sunday and then Thursday. I talked to John at Central because they've done it. I talked to him in the summer, like, hey, how'd you do it? And they all gave me great advice, which is get their bodies back. We have to make sure after this game, it's going to be a physical game. How do you, in 5 days, make their bodies feel like they're ready to go again? Because your body normally doesn't feel halfway normal again until Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, it gets back to normal and you play Saturday. So we've changed a lot of things. We've done a ton of recovery. We've been planning for it for a long time. So next week will be a totally different week than we've ever had practice-wise. And we've changed this week's practice a little bit as well. Because they're not. I mean, these are all really good physical teams, too. We're going to play Central, then we're going to play Toledo, and then 7 days later we're going to play Ohio. These are 3 really good teams in 13 days. So great challenge. They got the same thing. I mean, Toledo's got Buffalo, I think, this weekend, and then us 5 days later. So it's we're all going to deal with the same things. We got to deal with it better than they do. I don't think we're all that complicated with our offense. I think in defense we're going to do what we do and try to continue to get better at it and let our leaders lead and continue to get better. And the fun thing is we continue to win and leave room for improvement. And so we got a lot of things to work on, but it all comes down to this week, and then we got 5 days to figure out the next one, and at least we got 7, but they're going to be 3 really good football teams.
4 touchdowns last week against Bowling Green, helped lead that comeback against the Falcons. Can you just touch on the team's performance, especially there in the second half, to pull out the win at Bowling Green, and then looking ahead to Central Michigan, that kind of rivalry game and what that might mean to you and the rest of the Broncos?
The team did a great job this week that just passed, responding to the adversity that was at stake. We were down 21-7, and we truly believe that calm is our superpower. And we did a great job of staying calm. The guys kept their belief in one another. And when we walked inside the locker room at halftime, there was no doubt that we were going to come back and win the game. And I'm very excited about what's to come because of that. This week we have Central, who's a great opponent, our rival. It's going to be a hostile environment. They have a great defense, great head coach who bleeds, CMU. It's going to be a great competitive game. We're going to have to bring our best game. We're going to have to start fast for the first time in a long time. But it's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to be in that environment yet again.
Jamauri, Coach just was talking about how you've been winning, but yet you've always got room to improve.
Yes.
I've heard you say before, the best is yet to come. Can you talk about where you see the biggest areas of improvement and what's yet to come?
I think for us, our biggest areas of improvement will be just starting fast, attacking the game from the very beginning. Why get down 21-7, right? Let's score out 35 points in the first half so we can put ourselves in a great position coming out of halftime with the ball and then control the game from there with our offensive line and our great running game. But we've been putting ourselves behind the 8 ball the last few weeks. But I see great improvement coming because of that. Our defense, we put them in a lot of bad predicaments as an offense because we're stalling on drive. So if we can take care of our half, and we'll make defense's job a lot easier, which makes our team job a lot easier, and we'll score a lot of more points, and we'll be a lot more effective.
How much does last year against CMU still sting, if it does at all?
I don't think it stings because I think that was our greatest teacher. From that point on, we created this thing called Packer Drill, which has forever changed, I think, our program for the better. For the next few years, as long as we keep doing it, our program is going to be really, really good. Comm is going to remain a superpower. And after the second half, we're going to be a great team because of our Packer Drill. Guys don't back down in the second half anymore because of the CMU game. When we lost last year, we had a lot of guys who were kind of just not there because of we were up, and then all of a sudden we lost our 17-point lead. But now after that game, we learned our lesson, and now I think we're just in a better predicament. So I think we learned, I think we grew. I think that game made this program better.
Coach was talking about your patience, and now that was really one of the things that made you such an exceptional runner. Yet you rarely get into negative plays or lose yards. Can you talk a little bit about, being amongst all those big, huge men in front of you and being able to find the hole and a little bit of daylight to make positive?
I think that comes down just to strong belief and trust in the guys in front of you. I understand that the guys in front of me are really good. And as long as I allow them to take their course and get on the guys they need to get on, I have to do my job of pressing holes and pressing certain areas. But as long as I do those things and they get their hands physically on someone, we have a great chance of getting 5 yards. And 5 yards sometimes turns into 10. And sometimes that 10-yard, if I have enough gas in my legs, turns into a 60-yard home run. But those guys are so good that as long as I do my small job of pressing the hole in they'll take care of business with no problem.
Coach has mentioned the Packer Drill a couple times now. Without giving away any trade secrets, could you kind of fill us in as to what that's all about?
The Packer Drill is just a drill that was created to enforce toughness and a willingness to never break because we don't know how long it's going to go. So we're doing, okay, I'll give you a little piece of it. We do up-downs, and it's something else, but maybe he'll give you that. I'll just give you the up-downs. We do up-downs, and you don't know when those up-downs are going to stop. But your job is to continue to attack each and every rep without ever saying, okay, well, Coach, how many more do we have? And it changes your mind because now guys, when they're in games, they just continue to attack. We don't look at the score. We were down 21-7. I don't think anybody on the sideline realized we were down 21-7 because we just attacked every single rep. So mentally we have changed because of that. That's why I say that last year's game has made us a better team because now all we do is attack. And when you have young guys who don't know any better and they just attack, it makes things a lot easy for us.
4 touchdowns. Again, I remember the Bahamas Bowl so well. If both results are wins, would you prefer to have 4 touchdowns or 150 yards rushing?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll take 15 carries. I'll probably take the 4 touchdowns because it was really easy. Didn't have to get my body banged up much. Now I've got my 5th year. I've had about 500-plus carries. I'm always worried about how many times I'm going to get hit. So the 150-yard game is probably going to be 20 carries, 25, and it's going to be a tough 25. So I'll take the 15 for the 4.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jamauri?
Hey, Jamauri, you're a senior along with Leo in the running back room. It looks like you kind of taught some of the guys, Chase and obviously Levante, to be a little more patient in following blockers. I know that was one thing Coach Lester talked about what you do well. And watching the game Saturday, it looked like Levante started to do that a little bit. He's so fast, he wants to get out there in front of everybody. But it looks like he's kind of slowing down and found kind of what your lead is following behind that big offensive line.
Yes, I've talked to him several years ago. I told him, I said, I'm patient and I don't have your speed. So imagine you being patient and then using your great 4.32 speed. You're going to run for a lot of yards here. And finally, he's got to a point now where he's comfortable back there. He's confident. He's not thinking. He's just reacting. And I'm so happy for him because he's having a stellar season. And I think the best is yet to come for him. But once you learn that as a running back, Chase hasn't learned it yet. But once Chase learns that, Lord, look out. Because next year, him and Bellamy together and Chase runs just as fast, it's going to be really, really dangerous.
Real quickly, you talked about all the hits that you've taken over the years playing running back. Coach was talking about this turnaround from Saturday, real physical game anticipated in Mount Pleasant, to then Toledo coming in. Can you talk about your own recovery process and how he said a lot of the times it's not until the following Wednesday that you're starting to feel all right again. Can you talk about that briefly?
We have cryo right now that we do a lot, cryotherapy, which has been great help. But I've added yoga to my kind of rehab for myself. So about once or twice a week, I do heated yoga. Lord knows, on a Tuesday practice, my body is pretty beat up from the hits that you take. But you learn as you get older that the more I sleep, the more I eat good, the more things I can do, yoga, stretching, the better off I am in the long run. So those little things like that kind of take you over the hill when it comes to recovering and getting your body back for the next game.